Om. 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 साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वप्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वप्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वप्रचोदयात्। Om. Sai Ram, offering my loving pranams at the lotus feet of our beloved Swami, merciful as he is, to bring his gems week after week, to share their learnings at his lotus feet, and the inspiration that they continue to have in doing his work, following the message that he has left for us through his life, uh, with the maxim, my life being my message, that Swami often says, and his students are the epitome of the same. And today we have a brother who studied between 1985 to 1990, completing his master's in physics at the Prashanthi Campus. He has been involved in several school education programs, including the ones at Dharmkshetra, Mumbai, where he organized various courses for Sathya Sai school teachers, and these being residential courses of 21 days duration. He has trained more than 1,800 teachers who are spread all over the country. He is a member of the accreditation team of the Sathya Sai schools and a trustee of the Sathya Sai Trust, Chhattisgarh, and also serves as the state president of the Sri Sathya Sai Seva organization, Chhattisgarh. We are very, very fortunate to have with us, by Swami's grace, Brother Umesh Dang, and praying to Swami that the message that is destined for us is what we are going to hear in the next 1.5 hours from Brother Umesh. Sai Ram to you, sir, and welcome to Sai Govind Satsangh, which started as a small series. We have had your friend Tribhuvan Sasdeva, brother, also in this series, and I'm looking forward. Lots to learn from the school experiences of what you're doing, lots to learn from the lessons that you've had at the Lotus Feet. So, looking forward to hearing you for the next 90 minutes. Sai Ram.
Sairam, brother. Sairam. Thank you, sir. Shall we continue, sir?
Yes, please. Yes.
Okay. My humble pranams at the lotus feet of our most beloved Lord, Bhagavan Jesus. Dear brothers and sisters, I am very fortunate. I feel lucky that we are all together, and we'll be discussing a few of my experiences with Swami. Actually, this satsang is very important, sir. It's important because it develops the devotion in each one of us, and it clears the concept. So when we are discussing or we are doing satsang, we are talking about Swami. In a way, we are going inside. It's an inner view. So this satsang is very important, and it's very nice. It's very good that you all are organizing it every week, and you are getting experience of so many people. I will also share some of the things which I observed when I was at Prashanthi. Although I studied there for 5 years. Physically, I was there for 5 years in the college from 1985 to 1990. But after passing out also, I joined the organization. And since then, I am very active in the organization, and presently I am heading the organization, in a substantive organization, this Chhattisgarh. So it's a long journey, sir, but it's very close to the heart. and the things which touched me most, I'll be discussing those things with you. Normally, it's my nature that I observe the things very closely, sir, and it takes many years for me to get the answer why this, why that. So the thing which I observed at Prashanthi Campus, I used to ask why everything is so perfect, why there is so much of silence, why the system is running in a very systematic way, very beautiful way. Everything is organized. The people are very softly spoken, and the hostel and everything. All the students, if you see, there is a glow in their face. So I used to question this thing into myself. So what makes Swami that everything is so perfect, everything is so disciplined, everything is so punctual, and even after when Swami left the physical body, still the same thing is continuing. So I will share something which happened in my life, and that brings to the conclusion of this question. My whole life I have been in hostel, this schooling and the college. For 14 years, I was in hostel. 7 years in the school, I was in a military hostel, which is there is a military school nearby my state in Madhya Pradesh. So I studied from 6th standard to 12th standard there. And before also I was in nursery also, I was in hostel. Then after passing out from the school, again I joined Swami's hostel for another 5 years. So throughout total about 14 years I was in the hostel. So I have a very long experience of this hostel life. So I'll just give you a glimpse of my life, schooling life, and then I will narrate this Swami's college life. So in the military school, it was very disciplined, sir. And we were all 6th standard means, suppose I think it will be 12 years age. So at that age, I was supervised by the Havaldars and the Subedars, the military personnel. The Lieutenant Colonel was our principal, then the headmaster was from the Air Force, and the registrar from Navy. So in that way, throughout that schooling part, we were under the supervision of military personnel. So every day, left, right was our march past was our part of routine. Morning, we used to get up very early, and throughout the day, we used to change our dress for about 4 to 5 times. Then the morning PT dress, then school uniform, khaki uniform, then sports dress, then evening dress, then night dress. So in that way, whole life was pakka disciplined, punctual, and for everything, wherever we used to go, there was a huge premises, about 360 acres. So the school building was at a distance, and the mess was another located somewhere else, and the house was where we used to stay, a dormitory. It was all were far apart. So from dormitory to school, we used to march past in threes, left, right, in between, halt, and then again, bicep, chal, like that. All that thing used to go on. In the mess also, it was full discipline. But throughout, we were supervised by the military personnel, and everyone was punctual, because suppose we are going to any activity, we used to run and reach there on time, because suppose I am late for 5 minutes, then the person there will give me punishment. Go take 5 rounds of the football field. So in that way, we used to be afraid also, and because of that, we used to be punctual. We used to run around, to be on time, to be disciplined, to be full time, very well dressed, because someone is guiding, someone is watching us, and if we are not up to the mark, then we will be punished. To avoid that punishment, we all used to be very punctual and disciplined. So with that environment, I reached After passing out from the school, I reached Swami's College after passing out 12th. And I will narrate you the first day, first hour at Swami's hostel. And that touched my heart. I was a bit late joining Swami's hostel. I was about 7 days. I joined late because I got interviewed, and in the interview room only they told me that you are selected. So that time my house was very far off from Prashanthi. It used to take 3 days from one side. So I said, okay, sir, I will just go back and arrange money and all those things and then come back. So in that way, I joined the hostel about 7 to 8 days late. When I reached the hostel, it was night at about 8 o'clock, and there was no one around in the hostel. I thought that I am the new person. I am the first one to join the hostel because I didn't see anyone in the hostel. I entered the hostel with a big suitcase and one hold all in my hand because I had to continue my stay there for 5 years. So in one hand, it was a big hold all. Hold all means in which we have the bedding and the pillow and all those things. And the suitcase was where I had my all clothing and everything. So with those two things in my hand, I entered the foyer at night, 8 o'clock. There was a notice board. I reached the notice board and I saw my name. My room number was 9B. I still remember 9B. And then there was no one to guide me which way to go for 9B. So just there was an arrow towards the stairs, and something happened over here that changed my life. I was downstairs, and I was about to climb up the stairs. Just then I saw one small boy, about 8th standard. He was coming downstairs. The moment he looked at me, he had a tumbler and a plate in his hand. Immediately, he kept that plate and the tumbler down on the floor. And he asked me, "New boy, brother?" I said, "Yes." He came down rushing to me and took one of the heavy hold-outs from me and climbed up the stairs. And then there was a huge corridor. And he asked me, "Which room, brother?" Again, he said, "Brother." This brother thing was new to me. And I said 9B. He took me to 9B and kept my luggage over there before the cupboard. And he said that in few time, your roommates will come. I didn't find anyone in the corridor. I didn't find anyone in the room also. So I waited there. Just then another boy came, my roommate came. And he also had a plate and a tumbler in his hand. He greeted me very nicely, very lovingly. He greeted me. He said, "Hello, Dang, how are you? We were waiting for you." And he inquired about whether I had food or not. And then I told him, "No, I didn't have food." Then he said, he asked me whether you have a plate and the tumbler with you. I said, "No, I don't have, because I didn't know that we had to carry this thing with us." So he gave his plate and the tumbler to me and said, "Go downstairs, brother." He showed me the way from the room itself. Go downstairs, and then you will find the dining hall. I went through another route to downstairs, and there I searched for the dining hall, sir. Because in the military school where I studied, there was a lot of murmuring, there was a lot of noise when we used to have our food, meals, that the people far off can make out that the students are having their meals. But I didn't hear any sound, no murmuring, nothing like that. So I searched for the dining hall. I didn't find anyone there. Outside also, no one was there. So I came back again. I came back to my room. And that boy, he asked, "Why you went there? You didn't find the dining hall?" I said, "No, there is no dining hall. I couldn't find the dining hall." So he said, "No, the place where you went, that is the dining hall." So again, I went down. So the windows were closed, the door was closed. There was the huge quadrangle. So the moment I opened the door, and lo behold, sir, about 500 boys were having their meals. And I was searching for the dining hall just outside in that corridor. There was no murmuring, there was no sound. Everyone was so silent and having their meals. The way I entered the dining hall, the person behind the containers, he could make out that I am a new boy. And he asked me, "New boy, brother?" He also said very lovingly, "Brother." I said, "Yes, brother." Then he took me very lovingly to the counter and served me all the items, food items, and I sat on the mat. Huge long mats were there, and in each mat about 30-40 boys sit facing each other. So I sat there and had my food. I was just then I felt that the boy sitting next to me, who was quite far off from me, about 10 to 15 feet away from me, there was no one between both of us, and he was pulling the mat and trying to draw my attention. So I looked at him. He finished his food. He looked at me and said, "Sairam." I said, "Sairam." So that was the gesture of love. That was the gesture that we have sat together and taken food together of respect. So he went off, and then there was no sound. Maybe because one of the reasons that they don't, most of the boys they don't use spoon, but no one was talking, no murmuring, and nothing. And when he went off, I also got up and went to my room. There was full silence. Everything was systematic and punctual. Now that I started thinking, I started wondering for many years that what makes these students so punctual, so silent, disciplined. Everything is so systematic, and they talk so lovingly. They talk, they address as a brother, and all the things still is continuing. That same pattern, same behavior changes. Means same thing is continuing still today also. So what Swami does, that everyone is so punctual, everyone is so systematic, everyone has so many good qualities. So these qualities we don't see in the outside world, we don't see these qualities in other institutions. But here in Prashanthi Nilayam or in the Swami's Satsangh Sai schools which are outside Prashanthi Nilayam, I feel the same thing. We train the teachers also. I have been training so many teachers. And I observe the same thing among the Satsang teachers, difference between the Satsang teachers and the teachers who are outside from other schools. When we are training our Satsang teachers, we have a long session of about 3 hours, and in between there is a break of 15 to 20 minutes. But during that 3 hours, all are very attentive. They give they are very silent. They listen to the talk very silently. In between, no one gets up, no one talks, and no one wants to go to the washroom. But when we train the teachers who are from non-Sathya Sai schools, now and then someone gets up, wants to go for washroom, and in between they start talking to each other, and there is a disturbance. But when the Satsang school teachers, it's not there. And same is in the organization. When we are in the organization, you observe it that some talk is there or some presentation is there. All are sitting silently for hours together. They are sitting silently. There is no disturbance, and everyone is so attentive. They understand the things also. That difference we can make out who are among the Swami's devotees and those who are non-devotees. Same thing you can observe in the Prashanthi Nilayam. When Swami was there, it's natural that when Swami's physical form was there, so everyone was perfect silence and discipline. Even the pin drop silence means not only it's a quotation that pin drop silence, but if you drop the pin or the key, you can all thousands of persons can hear that sound of the key or pen which falls on the ground. So what makes the things means everything is so disciplined. What is that thing that Swami does in our organization or in the Swami's institutions or in the mandir, that inner self is reflected in our behavior. So this is what I used to observe, and then I got the answer to this from the hostel, which is very close to me because close to my heart, because I have stayed my very large part, that younger part in the hostel. So I will just narrate you what Swami does in the hostel, and that all the boys are so perfect and so disciplined. And the same thing happens in our organization, and that is reflected in our behavior. To maintain a hostel of about 500 people, you can estimate that workers will be required, and about 15 to 20 workers will be required, because the food has to be made, cleaning has to be done, and all the things has to be arranged. So in the hostel, there is a library, there is a fruit stall, there is a general store, there is music room, sick ward, OPD. You have this technical room. So many things are there in the hostel. It's a beautiful hostel, Swami's hostel. One of the I don't think that you can find any such a hostel anywhere in the world. That environment or that logistic also. It's so beautiful. It's so very close to the heart to each of the residents. To maintain such a huge facility, you need about 25 to 30 workers. Huge building has to be cleaned. So, but to the surprise, you will be very much surprised that only two cooks were there during our time when 85 to 90. Only two cooks were there, sir. One head cook and one assistant to him, and one manager. Three persons used to manage food, breakfast, lunch, dinner uh, for about 500 people. The chapatis has to be rolled, the chopping has to be done. So many things have to be done, and daily it has to be done from morning till night, thrice a day, and it is managed by just three persons. How that thing happens? Then fruit stall, the general store, there are no workers, and only four workers were there who used to clean the corridors and the toilets. So in all, I could say that 4 plus 3, 7, and the warden, 8. 8 persons were there to manage the whole system. How is it possible? It's not possible. Now, what Swami does is, Swami involves all the students. All the students are busy in some or the other activity. The chapatis are rolled by the students, the chopping is done by the students, the fruit stall is maintained by the students, the general store is run by the students, the music room, even the OPD and the sick ward, if anyone falls sick, the students are taking care of him. The maintenance cell is maintained by the students. The tube lights are repaired. That time we used to have wristwatches. The wristwatches used to be repaired. And anything that happens, it was all done by the students. And each of the students is busy in some or the other activity. Some boys are arranging morning prayer session. Someone is arranging the food in the dining hall. So everything, all 500 students are busy doing some or the other work. That was a wonderful thing, and that brought about that change. Because when I am doing something and something goes wrong with me, the same thing may happen with my colleague, that he is also busy doing something, and something may go wrong from him. So he won't criticize me, I won't criticize him. In our Satsangh hostel, there is no criticism, there is no leg pulling, and everyone is so cooperating because everyone is working and doing some or the other service. You just to give a glimpse of it. Suppose how this thing is managed, the mess in the dining hall. I told that only one cook and one assistant is there, and one manager is there, and no one is there. No one other worker is there. So when I enter, suppose I enter the dining hall and I see that, okay, the utensils are not arranged on the place, on the table. So I, along with some of the boys, whoever comes first, I will go to the dining area, pick up the utensils, the vessels, and place it on the table. And whoever comes, he has his own tumbler and the glass. They will come one by one, and then I will start serving to them. Suppose I have to go, I will ask the boy who comes, please serve, brother. He will start doing serving. In that way, the serving is completed. So when we enter the dining hall and see that the mats are now spread out, so whoever comes, he spreads the mat, and everyone takes food. Towards the end, when I see that okay, I am the last person, or few of us are the last person to finish the meal. So whoever is the last, he will just roll the mats and clean. Rooms are there. They will clean. 5, 6 boys will clean the dining hall and keep the utensils back, vessels back in the mess in the cooking area. The cook will come and he will only clean the few vessels and they will prepare the food because the food is prepared in a very systematic way. Means technologically it's good. The mess is very good. So 2 persons are able to clean it, are able to prepare the food. In a similar way, the chapatis are rolled by the students. The chopping is done by the students. The fruit stall is maintained by the students. Everything is maintained by the students. So what Swami does, he involves each and everyone in some or the other activity. That is the thing. Because of that, everyone is so disciplined. The whole system is running so smoothly. I find the same thing in our organization. In our organization also, I don't know about Singapore organization, but in Satsangh organization, India, we see that all people are involved in some or the other activity. Full time from morning till evening, they are thinking about the Swami's service activities. I wonder sometimes when I go to Prashanthi, because at the initial part you talked about, sir, about the Prashanthi Seva. You observe that the Sevadal who is standing alone in one of the serving place, he stands there alone for about 8 hours. No one is there to talk to him, and he's doing his duty. He's just sitting there, and but he won't leave the point. He's anytime you go there, you will find person sitting there in his shift. And how this system is so perfect that everyone is doing his duty sincerely, and you won't find absentee or something like that. In a similar way, when I arrange these certificate courses, the people, we have about 180 faculties who move around the courses throughout country. And at a time, about 8 courses are there or 9 courses going around the country in different locations. And some in the south, north, like that, far apart, thousands of kilometers away. But these faculties, we prepared the schedule about a month or 1.5 months earlier. And I never found that my faculty misses the talk. Everyone reaches there on time, on scheduled day. We will just give a presentation and he'll come back. So, and no money is involved in that way because everyone is putting his own money, and the whole thing goes on in a very smooth and systematic way. It's just like putting a car, sitting on the car, and the engine starts, and everything is so simple. So this is how the Swami's working is going on, and everyone is so systematic and so planned. The thing is, I feel that when we do any service like that, or we are involved in any of the activity, there is a feeling of surrender, sir. There is a feeling of surrender. The boy who is doing any activity in the organization or in the hostel or in Prashanthi Nilayam, anywhere, he is not doing it as a duty. He is doing it as a worship. And whatever act he does it as a feel of surrender to Swami. And this feeling of surrender is the main reason that there is a difference between our organization and other organizations, or our institution and the other institution. This is what I feel, that there is a change of behavior. Swami improves the behavior of all the persons. One Swami in the portico, he said that knowledge is not important. It's the behavior that is important. So there is a change of behavior in each one of us because we are all involved in this organization. Sir, anything, because I feel that I am talking to myself alone.
We are ardently listening. So you're
Yeah,
almost
because in the
you're
online, no, I can see my face alone, and I
My
have a
face,
feeling
my face,
that.
my face is on. I think they keep the
uh,
videos off because of the bandwidth, but
uh,
I think the message is coming
yeah, I
loud and
understand, sir. But I understand that. But it's like talking to our own self.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
I can ask you questions if you want that to happen.
Yes,
no, no.
I'm one
Because
of the person.
you are hitting on the topic that is of relevance, and
Yeah.
you're bringing a very profound thought in a very simple manner. It's a very deep point that is being communicated
Yeah.
of leadership.
It's so if it is a discussion mode, it will be better, sir. I will narrate few
Yeah,
things because
go
there are
ahead.
so many things to be
You please
talked.
go
But
ahead. No, we will do one thing. We'll do one thing. It's not a very big group today. What we will do,
yeah, it's good, sir, that a small group is there.
now
And
what we
I
can do, sir, is you speak. Maybe if you have anything else to add, then we'll go
yeah,
ahead.
I have many things to talk, sir. I have many things to talk. I will narrate you another thing which is very close to me. And I'll just narrate you one thing because when we studied there, no, so we all are there. We are all Swami's devotee and we have been to Prashanthi Nilayam. And during our course of time, uh, we have seen so many things development taking place in Prashanthi Nilayam. So one of the things which I will narrate in one instance, this planetarium, no Swami's planetarium, it's just before our hostel, and when it was under construction, I was my room was I could see the construction from my room, my window, so I could see the progress daily, this planetarium progress. And I used to wonder so fast it came up. Within 4 months, that huge structure came up. It was so surprising to me that everything was coming up so fast, and the date of the inaugural date was nearing, and the things were not completed. And I thought, no, no way it can be completed. It's impossible for it to get completed in next 8 to 10 days. But the thing came up, and inauguration was done. It was completed, and everything was set. So after the inauguration, the person who got that a planetarium, who was in charge for the construction or bringing up that planetarium, Swami asked him to go and talk to the students in the auditorium, in our school auditorium. So what the thing which he narrated has touched my heart, and I have been following it in my life. So what he said, he was sitting, he was a foreigner, a Westerner, I don't know his name, a very young chap at that age, about 30 or 35 years old. And this gentleman, he came to us and he narrated the story how Swami involved in the planetarium project and how the things came up in that short period of time. So he came and said he was sitting in the Swami's darshan line. He got first line that day, and Swami asked him, "Will you make planetarium for me?" And this gentleman didn't know anything about the planetarium. He had never been to the planetarium. And Swami asked him, "Will you make planetarium for me?" And what could he say? He just folded his hand before Swami, and Swami asked him for the interview. He took him for the interview. An interview room, Swami asked him to be in charge for the planetarium and asked him to make a planetarium for him. And this gentleman, he said that I requested Swami, I don't know anything about the planetarium. And Swami said, no, he just tapped on his head and said, no, you make a planetarium for me. And what could he say? Suppose Swami tells us to do something and we don't know anything, still we just fold our hand and pray to him. We won't say no, we won't say anything like that. We just pray our hand and say, okay, Swami. And this gentleman also happened, folded his hand, and when he came out, he was wondering how to start it, because he didn't know anything about where to contact, whom to contact, where the workers will be there, where technology will be there. And Swami, when he announces that such building is going, such project is going to come, at the same time he announces that this particular day it will be inaugurated. So, and that duration is very short period, about a year only. So he was wondering what to do. and he narrated that when he was going back to his country in the flight, the person sitting next to him was a professor, and he was a person who knew ins and outs of the planetarium. So the things started happening in his life in a way. All the circumstances were created for him. All the knowledge came to him through the various sources, and he was just an instrument, and all the things started falling in the places. And this gentleman, he said, I just surrendered to Swami and I made myself available to Swami. And he acted through me that the whole project, the planetarium, came up on scheduled time. So this thing which he said, no, I made myself available to Swami, and I surrendered to Swami. These two things touched my heart. And since then, I feel that whatever things which are happening there, it's Swami's projects or whatever, where the institutions or the anything that is happening there, it's all because we all are make ourselves available to Swami and we all surrender to Swami. This is the thing which is running the whole Swami's the Avatar's mission. It's we are all available to Swami. Suppose we are about 10 to 15% sitting here, and it's because you are sitting here because you are available to Swami and surrender to, or whatever I am going to say anything, but you have surrendered to Swami. That's why you are listening to me so patiently, sir. So our organization, the Sevadal who is sitting there, alone sitting there for hours together, he has made himself available to Swami and he has surrendered himself to Swami. That's why he is sitting there for 15 days. Sparing 15 days and sitting alone for hours together doing service is not an easy thing. It's otherwise it's a very boring thing to sit alone and doing some service for a Sevadal who is just guiding the place. He may be some professor, he may be some big authority in his day-to-day life, but he is sitting there as a simple man, just as a watchman. So because he has surrendered to Swami and he has made himself available to Swami. Similar is the case with all, whether it is a hospital, whether it is any of the things, it is because the people who are involved have made themselves available and surrendered to Swami. This thing I took in my mind, and I made it. Whatever in organization, I am not an educationist. Still, I organize so many certificate courses I organize so many certificate courses for school teachers. I train so many teachers, and they are highly qualified teachers. As far as a profession is concerned, I am not a professor or any educationist or a teacher. I never took any class. I never taught any student, but I have been training so many teachers only because I feel that I made myself available to Swami and I surrendered to Swami. And all the circumstances were created, things were made available to me. So many educationists came in contact of me. We all together came and discussed. We all made the syllabus. We all studied Swami's literature. Everything was done. And it was a collective effort, but everyone surrendered to Swami and made himself available to Swami. That the course or anything, it touches the heart of the people.
Wonderful.
So, and one other thing which happened with me when I was a student there, Swami once came among the students, he was standing next to me. Swami said, I am always yes, yes, yes. Swami is never no. This is what he said. I am always yes, yes, yes. So this thing again touched my heart, and anything is there, I will say yes. First, I will say yes, because I will never say any opportunity is there or even the big projects are there. I will say yes. I will never say no. It's because I feel that it is Swami who is going to do the thing. The things which we are planning to do is beyond my capacity, beyond my knowledge. I am not a capable person. I can't do it. I can't handle it. I don't have resources. But still, I make myself available to him and I surrender to him. and Swami creates the circumstances. He gives the knowledge. He gives the experience. Everything is arranged by him, and things happen in such a beautiful way, as if it is being done by some big professionals or highly qualified persons. But we just surrender to Swami. Another thing which I feel with Swami, as an means, you can understand the avatarhood or the power of Swami. Suppose I have an industry and I have to hire some person. What I will do? I will look into the qualification of the person, what degree you have, what experience you have, whether you are fit for my job or not. And then throw about 4 to 5%, and then we select one of the person that you have the knowledge, you have the experience, and you have the qualification. You are fit to do this job. But with Swami, it was other way around. He never looked at the qualification. That gentleman, he didn't have any qualification of the planetarium. He didn't have any knowledge of the planetarium. He didn't have any experience about the planetarium. Still, Swami chose him. You prepare a planetarium for me. It is only and only because he was surrendered to Swami and he made himself available to Swami. And this is for the fine devotees or who we all. I feel that if we make ourselves available and surrender to Swami, then all our life, whatever act we do, it will be a spiritual act. It will be an act of worship. This is what I feel. And then once Swami said, make your sleep samadhi. This is what Swami said. Make your sleep samadhi. This also touched me, and I started wondering how can our sleep become a samadhi? Samadhi means you are in constant union with God. How can we make our night, when we sleep for about 8 hours, how can we make our night a samadhi? And when I was studying one of Swami's literature, I got the answer to it. And Swami said, if you surrender all your daily acts, whatever you are doing, if you surrender it to me, then night when you sleep, that sleep is a samadhi. So whatever we do, whatever acts we do, just surrender to Swami. All our is Gita, no Gita. All our fruits of the action should be surrendered to the Swami, to the Lord. When we do that, the night when we sleep, that is a samadhi. This is what Swami said. Anything, sir?
It's beautiful. I would say the way you're bringing out very, very deep messages in a very simple manner. It is easy to connect. The sleep part and the samadhi is a beautiful statement. I'm sure many of
Yeah.
us have the problems of trying to go to bed because the mind is in a state of I wouldn't say excitement, agitation, because it's still processing. But when you surrender, then you really get peace. And I think today you've touched the point of uh, of surrender and availability. That the
Yeah.
hollowest bamboo produces the best of sound, and you have touched the way seva has to be brought. I think it's very, very inspirational from that. So if you have any of your, what I notice with you is you have a process of studying something that comes to your way, experiencing it through answers that you get. That the way you are finally narrating it, it looks so simple. Uh,
Yeah.
it looks
Another instance, I will just narrate, sir. There are so many small things. Uh, you heard that Swami cured many persons. No, they didn't have the operation, and they didn't undergo the operation. Their operation was scheduled, but they didn't undergo because Swami miraculously cured it. Many of us, you must have heard it or you must have read it. I am the person who was scheduled for the operation. It was everything was set, and I didn't undergo the operation. Swami directly told me no operation. I will just narrate you instance, which is very close to, naturally it will be close to my heart because it has happened with me. When I was studying in 1988, sir, when I was studying in the Swami's college, So it was 4th of January 1988. 1st of January, we had the culture program in the auditorium, only among the boys. Swami was not there. Night we had so many skits and the songs, and it's a very beautiful program because everyone encourages. Swami's hostel means everyone encourages. Whatever performance you do, everyone is there is so much of clapping and everyone encourages whether you perform up to the mark or not, but encouragement is there. So I was very much involved in the dramatics. I used to take part in many of the dramas. Once I wrote also a drama, and it was staged before Swami. So that day also we had so many programs, skits and the culture program. And night at about 9 o'clock, we went back to the hostel for the dinner and then night stay at hostel. So I started getting very sharp pain towards the right hand side of my this stomach. It was a pinpointed pain, and it was increasing. It was a horrible pain, sir. I just can't explain you such a very sharp pain. So I didn't have the dinner, and I went and slept in my room. Room is shared by nine boys, 14 boys, 18 boys. In that way, the rooms, different size rooms are there. So when I slept, my roommates, they came and inquired me, what happened, Dang, why are you not having food? And I was in so much of pain. So night at about 11 o'clock, they gave me some medicines. It was of no use. Then night at about 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock, one of the boys, he came and told me, Dan, I think you need to show to the doctor because the pain is not under control. It's not bearable. Better you go and show to the doctor in the morning. So morning, about 7 o'clock, I went for the darshan. All the boys went for the darshan, and I went to the hospital. That time, general hospital was there. So I went to the hospital, and being a student, I didn't have to stand in the line. They took me immediately. 2 doctors were there, and they examined me. It was about 7 o'clock, and they examined me, and they said it's a case of appendicitis, and you need to be operated. The moment he said operation, I got very nervous. I didn't know what to do. I said, okay, sir, I will call my parents. My eldest brother's marriage was also on 28th of January. Another 24 days were left. So I had so many thoughts started coming to my mind. I said, okay, sir, can I call my parents and then you can operate? He said, no, it has to be operated today only. He called the nurse and he said, arrange for the operation. And we will operate on him at 9:30. He said like that. So I don't know how. I said, okay, sir, I will take permission from Swami and come. I told like that. I will take permission from Swami. And immediately I got up from the examination table and rushed to the Swami's mandir. I didn't take bath that time in the morning. I was in a white kurta and pajama because we used to put on white clothes. So that was a white kurta and pajama. My night dress, plain white and plain pajama, white kurta and pajama. So I went in that without taking bath. I rushed to the mandir. When I entered the gate, I could see everything was set. That time, Swami used to come at about 7:20. Exact sharp 7:20, Swami used to come for the darshan. So everything was set. All the devotees were set. Students were set. And it was a pin drop silence. And I entered the gate. I saw my warden sitting outside. I don't know, when Swami has to do something, no, all the doors will open. So I asked him, sir, I want to sit. Talking to Swami is not an easy thing. You understand that thing? Although it's easy for the students to talk to Swami, but it's not that easy for a student, any of the students to talk to Swami. It's not easy. So it takes about years to talk to Swami. You can understand it because we are all Swami's devotee, and suppose you have to talk to Swami, have conversation, it may take years to get that opportunity to talk to Swami. And I said to the warden, sir, I want to sit in front. And he nodded, yes. Otherwise, he won't give permission. To sit in the front, you need to have your birthday or something like that. Otherwise, you can't get an opportunity to sit in the front. And I said, sir, I want to sit in front. He allowed me. I went and sat in the front, just outside Swami's door. And I looked, there was no birthday boy that day, no birthday boys. I was sitting alone. It was about, now it is about 7:15, around 7:15. It's from General Hospital to Prashanthi. It's about 7 minutes, hardly 5 to 7 minutes walk. So about 7:15, I was sitting in the front, just outside Swami's door. At 7:20, sir, the latch came down. I saw Swami standing just in front of my eyes, about 8 to 10 feet away from me. He looked directly into my eyes and said, appendicitis. The moment he said appendicitis, I started shivering because no one in the world knew that I had appendicitis except those two doctors, that nurse and myself. No one in the world knew that I had appendicitis. So he said, appendicitis? I said, yes, sir. And he didn't say anything. He went for a darshan to the ladies' side and then to the gents' side. And when he came back, there was a big group of about 17 Italian persons who came for Swami brought for the interview. And towards the end, he asked me to come inside. And I went inside. That was my first interview with Swami, first interview. So I sat in one of the corner, and so many things happened in the interview. I don't want to narrate all those things because it will take a lot of time. He talked with the foreigners, and he talked with one family was there, Telugu family was there. He talked with them. So many creations were there. So many things were, Swami was talking to them. So many things happened in that 45 to 1 hour. Towards the end, he took me inside the inner interview room. That room is there. And he asked me, and what I'm going to narrate happened in just about, I think, not more than 1 minute, hardly 1 minute. He said, what did doctor say? Swami said. And he's talking to me, and he waved his hand. His hand was full of oil. And I said, Swami, doctor, he talks to me. Whenever Swami talked, he talked to me in Hindi, never in English, because I am from northern India. So every time he used to talk to me in Hindi, and the conversation was in Hindi. Swami said, doctor kya bola? What did doctor say? I said, Swami, doctor's appendicitis operation ke liye. And yes, while he was doing, he waved his hand, and the hand was full of oil. And then he asked me to lift the kurta, and I lifted my kurta, and he gave a very gentle and very loving, at the point where the pain was there, he just applied the oil over there. I didn't say that this is the place where the pain is there. He himself, he knew everything, and he applied the oil. And while doing this, he's so short. I was looking down, and my full face was just very close to his hair, the crown of hair. And then he applied and said, immediately I had a thought that the doctors are waiting there for operation. I asked Swami, doctors operation karana hai kya aapko? Swami bole, no operation. And then he stood there near the chair and asked me to take Pad Namaskar. I took Pad Namaskar. And then he started moving out of the room. Immediately, I remembered that my eldest brother's marriage is on 20th of January, another 24 days. And I said, Sir, Swami, mere bhai ki shaadi, aap jarur aayega. My brother's marriage is there. Please come in the marriage. Swami waved his hand and gave locket from my eldest brother. So that day, after coming out of the interview room, I didn't go even to inform the doctors that I am not coming for the operation. And I, since that day till today, I never had any operation for the appendicitis. Then slowly the pain subsided, but the pain was there. Next day again I sat in the front, first boy sitting in the front. Again Swami came at 7:20 in the morning. The latch came down and he asked me, "Abhi kaisa hai? How are you now? How are you now?" I said, "Swami, thoda sa pain hai, small pain is there." He said, "No, nothing." And then he went off. So this thing happened with me. It's my personal experience, direct experience, which happened to me. And since that day, I felt that my life, I owe my whole life to this avatar. And whatever I had to do, I had to be I have to be part of Swami's mission. And whatever happens, comes to my life, I surrender it to Swami. There are so many circumstances which are favorable, non-favorable. I surrender it to Swami. Swami, its situation is beyond my capacity to handle. I just hand it over to you. And since then, all the things are taken care of him. All my family, all my business, all the organization are taken care of him. I very confidently take up the challenges because I know it's not me who is going to do. It is Swami who is going to do it. He is the one who is going to create the circumstances. He is the one who is going to give me all the knowledge, experience, everything. And he is the doer. Finally, we are just an instrument. I feel that thing happening with me daily now also. Every time that energy, that unison with God is there, and this is the achievement of my life, sir. Sairam, sir.
Sairam, sir. Sairam. Wonderful. Very beautiful. Very crisp and very pertinent message. So, if any of you have any questions that you may want to ask, we have lots of time. I noticed that he has really brought the message down to that point. So, I know that he has not talked about a lot of things. But then there are messages that we tend to get when we are focused on a particular thing. I think today has been surrender, be an instrument, be available, and engage everybody together, however they, whatever be their qualifications or so, because all of us at the end of the day are only instruments, and he, the master, will take care of tuning it. So the tuning is done by, it's auto tune, so done by Swami. So here is an opportunity. If anyone has got any questions, uh, I will probably ask one. I mean, how, I'm sure this might not be. What is your take now that you are a leader of a state in the organization? The biggest challenge always in all organizations is to be the leader. I mean, and however you surrender your
Yeah.
ego, however you offer, I'm sure there will be situations where you really have to go deep within to connect and keep the purpose of what you're doing in the same manner that you spoke about. Can you probably talk a little bit on being a leader in the Sathya Sai organization? A leader as in, positional leader. Although we are collectively doing everything.
Yeah.
Maybe if you can
Yeah.
tell a little bit on your take on that topic.
Yeah, sure, sir. What I feel that when Swami left his physical form, no, so that time also I was in the organization. I was very active in the organization. So they asked me what to do now when Swami was not physically there. What will happen? There was people were discussing so many things. I said, just don't do anything. Just surrender to him. And that is the only solution, and that is the thing we have to do. Swami, we have to just surrender to him. And now, because we are the persons who has to take his organization forward, because he has trained us directly. This is what I feel, that Swami has trained me directly. He has trained you directly. He has trained all of us who have been to Prashanthi Nilayam or in his during his lifetime, who have seen him, who had taken darshan. We have a very high responsibility on our shoulders because we understand Swami's philosophy. He trained us directly. And we are the inspired souls because we have experience, and we were in his constant and consistent interaction. There is lot of naturally there is lot of expectations from us, from our generation. So we have so much of responsibility on our shoulders, sir. Because after 25 years, when many of us won't be there, or the new generation is there who hasn't seen Swami, they won't understand anything of all these things, because they don't. There won't be people to explain them the experience also. Presently, we are there who are sharing our experience, but after the of some years, about 25 to 30 years, we won't be there. So the way we behave, the way we take the organization ahead, and the system we make, everything will be an example, a guidelines for the next generation. So it's for us. We shoulder a lot of responsibility, and we have a lot of commit. We need there is a need of lot of commitment from our generation, sir. So being a leader in the organization is not a big thing. In a way that when you surrender everything to Swami, and you try to bring out his teachings in your daily life, it's very easy, sir. It's very easy. It's like a cakewalk. I head the organization, and being a student, I try to bring that hostel environment in the organization, where everyone is working, and there is no leg pulling, there is no criticism. And whatever we do, we surrender to Swami, whether the program is successful or not successful, or a big success or a failure, whatever it is, whether some lacunas are there, we don't criticize. This is our motto. We don't criticize. We accept the things, because I am not a professional. The person who is doing service is not a professional. We are just offering our services to Swami, and whatever knowledge we have, whatever capacity we have, with that thing we are doing that service. So naturally, it's our puja. It's our puja. Puja. I think we all understand that word. It's our prayer to Swami. The moment I came to know that I have to give a talk to you all, sir, that very particular moment, my prayer started to Swami. My prayer started, Swami, you have to talk. They have given me opportunity. It's your duty. I am surrendering myself to you, and let whatever comes, it should come from my heart, and it should touch the heart of the persons who are listening to it. This prayer is, I am doing this prayer. So the moment about 15 days or a month back, when I came to know that I have to do some work, I start praying. So my prayer starts the moment I come to know of anything that I have to do in organization or in the Swami's mission. So when you do with that availability and surrender, here also you make yourself available and you surrender to Swami, then he creates an environment where everyone starts doing prayer, all the acts will be smooth, there won't be any criticism, and whatever work is done, it is accepted by all. So in that way, our organization, Chhattisgarh organization, I am so lucky. I have been heading the organization since last 5 years. I didn't receive any of the complaints, any of the misbehavior, or any of the tough time managing the organization people. So it is such a smooth. It's only because I feel that Swami is present in all the members of the organization, and whatever they are doing, it's their prayer to Swami. So naturally, it has to be good thing. It's their worship, and there won't be anything wrong in that way. Another thing is that when you surrender to Swami, he creates a aura around you that people with negative emotions or the negative thoughts, they won't come close to you, sir. They won't come close to you. God will create an aura around you that all the negativity will be far away from us. So this is what I feel, sir. Being an organization leader is when you surrender to Swami, it's a cakewalk. This is what I feel, sir.
Beautiful, beautiful. In fact, I love that analogy of the hostel in the Seva organization, which means involving everybody. Everyone is occupied. It is not your talent, it is about your willingness to learn. And then infused with that prayer to do it as a sadhana, I guess unity will be there because everyone is in it together to get the offering. And that analogy of not criticizing what the outcome is beautiful. I think
It's because when I am doing my prayers, no one else is supposed to pinpoint on that. How my prayer is my prayer, your prayer is your prayer. The way you do is acceptable. Is between you and the God.
correct.
The way you do is your way. My way is my way. So who else? No one else is supposed to criticize my prayer, and I am no one to criticize your prayer. So I feel that everyone's prayer has to be respected and it has to be given due consideration, sir.
Beautiful, absolutely. So profound. Lots to learn. Anyone has got any questions, please do ask. We are learning. Brother is being very modest not to go and just do a talk. And I love this engagement because he's also churning our minds to think of things to learn from if there's anything that you may have. So, floor, it's open. Anyone? Sairam, did I hear someone? Sorry,
Sarah.
I'm not too sure. So I'll go into the.
Sairam, Brother Venkat, you can hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, brother Gurraj. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. Sairam, Brother Umesh Dang. Yeah, I don't have a question, but just sharing what comes to my mind. I think I joined late because I was outside, but I am fortunate to get the juice of the message. But I think what I pray is to retain the innocence, brother, that you have. That is all what I wish for. Yeah, because being simple and sincere is Swami's message to the world, right? So yeah, I think that is what is my message for today. Yeah, so just being as simple and just connected to Swami without too much of lot of other frills around. Just connect to Swami and be simple. That is the message I get from your sharing, brother. So I just pray for that because I'm very a smaller person to use this word, but I am attracted by your innocence. Yeah, Sairam.
Sairam, I had a chat message coming. Brother, since we have a little time, would you like to share any more learnings from that interview that you said that was... So Swami kept you there to finally cure you, but he also made you listen to certain particular messages because anybody destined to be there when something happens is for a reason, right? And although yours was the last agenda on the day, you were there, a witness, to learn some messages. Were there any unique things that happened in that interview that you?
Yeah. In that interview.
Yes, maybe in that interview. He said there were a lot of things that happened, and then the last was yours. Was there anything pertinent that you remember?
Anything means another one thing was there. Means there was interaction was there among when in my interview.
Yeah.
There were about 17 to 19 Italian group was there. In that, only 2 gents were there and about 15 ladies, and one small baby was there. The baby was about hardly a year old or something, a month old, 8 months, 9 months old, and one Telugu family was there, parents and the son and the daughter like that. And then the moment Swami entered, means we observe so many things. Swami's smallest acts were so gentle and they teach so much of so many things. First thing is, the moment you enter the interview room, there is a barrier between. There is a lot of difference in the feelings outside the gate door and the inside the door. Those who have the interview, they can understand it, sir. I can't explain it. Swami is so close to you inside the interview room. Means you feel that he is okay. He is my friend since last 40 years, 50 years. Means we are langotia yaar, what we say in Hindi. So we can talk anything to him there in the personal interview. So close to him. I don't know how that feeling generates, Swami creates that energy. And the moment you are outside the door, there is a big gap between Swami, you can't approach him. And when you talk to him, everyone is shaking and the shivering. I don't know how it happens. This is the avatar's energy, which we feel that. I feel that because just I will narrate you. When I first went there, I was in first year college. So I saw that the persons who are talking to Swami, their hands were shaking like that. So I used to think, why his hand is shaking? He's so experienced person, so knowledgeable person. He is such a qualified person. And when he's talking to Swami, his hands is shaking like that. It's whenever Swami is talking to you, you observe that thing, and the hands start shaking. So when I got the opportunity, my hands were also shaking like that. So I tried to stop my hand, but it was shaking like that, like that, like that. So this is the this is the power's energy, that magnet which connects between divine and the human being. So that feeling is there, that respect is there, that godly feeling is there. I don't know, I can't explain it, but I observed that thing. So in the interview room, the moment when all were inside, Swami closed the door by himself, and he was so polite, he was so loving, sir, so loving. And the moment before, there is a small chair, and we were all sitting. It's a very small room, and it can't accommodate in a normal way. Suppose I have a room in my home, I don't think that about 10 to 15% can accommodate in a room of that size in any of our houses. But I have seen so many persons as sitting inside it. That day also about 25 persons were there with me, but everyone was seated there inside. So, and many times when we are sitting outside and we see that so many 50%, 60% we have seen going inside that room, and we wonder how can 50-60% can accommodate in that room. So it's a Swami's miracle that that particular room, so people get adjusted. So the moment Swami closed the door, when that baby started crying loudly, and then Swami waved his hand and created a candy for that baby, and Swami gave that candy to that baby, and she stopped. She started chewing it. Just then, another lady started crying, and that lady was weeping because then Swami, before sitting on the chair itself, he created a big chain for him. I have never seen such a close creation in so close to my eyes, sir. He created a big chain for that lady and gave it to that lady, and he told us that her husband expired about a week back, and she has so much of devotion for Swami that she came here, and throughout the life, Swami will take care of her. And that lady also was satisfied and silent. And then the Swami started conversation with that Italian group, and those Italian persons, they didn't understand English. So there was the two persons, the male persons, they were interpreting whatever Swami was saying. They were interpreting in Italian, and then the question answers started. Just as we are discussing in that same way, there were question answers started between that Italian group and Swami. And Swami, I could feel that Swami could understand the Italian so conveniently, so easily. Whatever there was no interpretation required. When they were putting some question to Swami, and when Swami was answering, it has to be interpreted through those gentlemen. So this thing went on for about 20 minutes that way. Then afterwards, Swami talked to the Telugu people. I didn't understand the Telugu, but Swami was talking to them in Telugu, and then he created one vibhuti palm shape that box, and he showed it to us. It was empty, and then he put the lid and did like this. It was full of vibhuti, and then he said, "It's Akshay Patra." He gave it to them, then created ring also for them, and he said, "This color is for the mental peace of the mind." So this all things happened outside, but inside room it was my personal thing which I narrated to you. It was interview lasted for about 1 hour or 1 hour 15 minutes like that. Before that also I got many interviews. That was mostly for the dramas which we used to enact before Swami. We continuously many times, and suppose some drama is there, and at that time Swami used to give interviews to that group. So I used to take in once we did Kavi Sammelan, sir. Kavi Sammelan, you understand, where we narrate the poems. So so we few of us came together and we said, we thought that we will have Kavi Sammelan in our institute auditorium. Means it was a very small program, because in institute there are many programs organized by the students at their own level. In which Swami doesn't come in that way. Means low level programs where boys will sit together and they will arrange the some skits or something like that, mono actings, small skits. But all these acts have a inner significance, and they are they have the teachings in that. So we thought we will have a Kavi Sammelan, because I was from northern India and one more boy was there from North India, and then we said that we will have a Kavi Sammelan. This thing, we went and prayed to Swami. Swami, we are having Kavi Sammelan. At that, Swami, some boys will write letters to Swami, and it was communicated through warden to Swami that boys are having this program. And then the word came from Swami. How many languages are there? We said about 5 to 6 languages we are doing this Kavi Sammelan. Then Swami said, no, do it for all the languages. And when Swami involved, the scene changed. The program was in 15 languages. And Swami gave us interview in the personal interviews to all the students. And there I observed Swami asked each and every boy which poem you are saying, and one of the boys he was not he didn't write it on his own. The Swami told us, you took this poem from this book, this page number. He told us before us, write from your own heart. And that boy surrendered himself to Swami, and then he wrote on his own poem. And it was staged before Swami, and this is what I observed. Swami knows everything, sir. Swami knows everything. He acts as if he doesn't know anything. And the biggest challenge in this avatar's life is in our scriptures also it's written to get moksha. If you understand the nature of avatar, you get moksha. So it's not possible. It's impossible to understand the nature of the God. He creates a maya around yourself, around himself. He creates a maya. He creates a confusion. He enjoys that confusion. He will just confuse you. The closer you are, the more confused you will be. Whether he is God, whether he is not God, why he is doing like that. We suppose this program is at 5 o'clock today. No, so it is scheduled at 5 o'clock. But with Swami, it may not happen at 5 o'clock, and you will be wondering whether the program is there or not. That uncertainty is there. I'll just narrate you, sir. We have time of 10 minutes.
No, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
I'll just narrate you one instance, sir. That touched my heart. Once I did my diploma in educare from under Dr. Jung Sai at Thailand. We were 11 persons. Satsangh schools, Loburi, I think.
Yeah.
So 11 persons from India were selected to attend this course at Prashanthi Campus, and then under Dr. Jung Sai at his school, at Sathya Sai school. And then we were supposed to come back and start a school teachers training program in India. So in 2002, sir. So I went there. We had the course in a similar way. These courses are going on in different parts of the world. I don't know whether it's there in Singapore or not, but Australia it is there. One Thailand is there, and then South Africa is there. Like that in different parts of the globe, about 5 to 7 there. Institute of Satsangh educations are there. So we came to know that all the certificates will be given by Swami at Prashanthi Campus. So we did, after the course, we didn't have any valedictory program in our in our courses, and we came back to our respective countries. So program was scheduled, date was fixed, everything was all persons about 160 or about 170 diploma holders, participants. They reached Prashanthi Nilayam from different parts of the countries. Program was scheduled, songs were scheduled, rehearsals were there, everything was there. So you can understand when people from different parts of the country are reaching at Prashanthi Nilayam, it was a mega event. Date was fixed, everything was fixed. I have seen Jum Sai sir moving around. He went and informed Swami, Sir Swami, all the participants have come tomorrow, and they are the means this diploma has to be given through your divine hands. So everything was planned in that way. Swami gave permission also. When Swami does everything, everything is done in a very very systematic way and to the minutest of the details. You understand that thing. Yeah. So next day morning, we were supposed to receive diploma through Swami's hands. And in the evening, Dr. Jum Sai, when he came out, he told outside that separate sitting arrangement has to be done for these diploma holders. And the Mandir authorities, they said, Swami didn't tell us, so we can't provide you the space. So I was a student there, so I knew everything, all these things, whatever is going on. So Jum Sai sir, he went to the higher authorities. He said, no, Swami didn't tell me, so I can't provide you the space. Then Swami, they said, okay, go and inquire from this person and that person. Throughout the time, evening, I seen night, about 8, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. No one knew that whether program is there tomorrow or not. No one knew. Where we are going to sit in the morning, no one knew. Because the persons who were arranging the mandir, Swami didn't tell them directly. So they said, we can't do anything, we can't help you, sir, because Swami didn't tell us directly. You are saying us, we understand whatever you are saying is conveyed to you by Swami, but Swami didn't tell us directly, so we can't provide you the space. And in the morning at 9 o'clock, morning when the darshan started, 7 o'clock, all arrangements were there. Students, they came and sat in their places. And once the students sit, sir, no one can ask them to get up. This is what I have seen. Once the students take their places, no one can ask them to, because they are so close to Swami and no one can dare to ask them to get up, vacate the space. Only Swami can do that. So I was observing it, and night about 11 o'clock after rehearsals, we were talking whether program is there or not there. And one gentleman, he said, when everyone was nervous and everyone felt so discouraged that tomorrow we are not going to receive diploma from Swami's hands, one boy was there, he was foreigner, and he said, Swami says, love my uncertainty. This is the thing which I heard from him first time, love my uncertainty. It touched my heart. Avatar's action cannot be understood. It can't be understood by anyone, sir. Why he does like that? So we all enjoyed that thing. And in the next day morning, all the students were set. And I thought, no chance of programs. Swami must have forgotten or something like that. No chance of program. We are not going to receive certificates to Swami's hands. And then Swami came out. Bhajans started. Everything started. Now once the bhajans started, then no chance of program, because after the bhajans there is Aarti. Just then Swami asked Jum Sai sir, where are your participants? And when he said your participants, then the whole energy went throughout that Sai Govind hall. Students were asked to get up from their place and we were made to sit in their place. We sat in the front and the whole program started as it was destined. It was scheduled, speeches were there, presentations were there, and we all got certificates through Swami's hand. So Swami is unpredictable, and he creates an environment of confusion He likes confusion, sir. Avatar likes confusion. You must have seen in the programs also, na? Veda chanting is going on, drums are beating, and at the same time that other musicians are there. Full confusion is there. You can't concentrate on one thing. Full confusion is there, and it enjoys confusion. And in that confusion, he wants us to take the inner path, go inside, and then visualize him and enjoy his glory. This is what I feel, sir. This Maya is like that. Maya is confusion.
Absolutely. You know, just to let you know, the satsangs also are having a sequence. Last few weeks has been interpretations of how to understand an avatar. And today you have summed it up with one thing. Avatar means uncertainty. Avatar will replicate the confusion of life. It is for our silence and our surrender that helps us to listen to his message and follow his teachings. I think it's a beautiful way how the series is progressing, where it's different people talking on different topics, but every week, you know, like one mega soap opera script writer, he connects the dots to give it one continuous storyline to tell you that you are on a path of how do I say, moving towards him within your heart, and
Yeah.
from the form to the formless of bringing him inside your heart and being that hollow instrument, so that the beauty of his fragrance emanates from your actions of seva. I think it's a very, very beautiful message today for us, brother. I cannot thank you enough for spending your evening contemplating on him. I'm sure Swami spoke whatever you spoke through you, for the sheer fact that it was a message for all of us to take back, contemplate, and as you rightly said, be available to seize an opportunity that comes your way without thinking how you are going to do it, how is it going to happen. Visualizing is not your problem, it's his problem, and he will make it happen if you say yes and be available. I think that's the biggest take home for us
Yeah.
today, and we will remember this.
One last thing, and then we can close, sir. One last thing about just 1 minute, sir.
Yeah, no, please go ahead.
My birthday.
So you're muted. You're muted, sir. You're muted.
Birthday, we used to sit in the front. So when I joined the hostel, one of the boys, he said, he was narrating about Swami. He told me, Dan, if you Swami asks anytime, what do you want? He will ask you. He asks students, what do you want? You ask interview. He told me like that. We were when we were sleeping in the sitting together and in the hostel. So that thing went into my head because I was a new entrance there. So, and it so happened that in my birthday, Swami came and created Vibhuti for me, and he asked, "What do you want?" I said, "Interview," because that boy told me, "No, ask interview." Because once Swami says interview, then inside he will ask, "Thanks." So I said, "Swami, I want interview," and Swami started laughing. And when Swami laughed, all the boys started laughing. And then Swami said, "Don't ask interview, ask for interview." So that was the instance which had touched my heart. And since then, I have been going for interview. I never ask for interview. I never go for outside thing. I ask for Swami, give me your interview. So give me interview so that I can understand and be on the right path. Sairam, sir.
Wonderful. You see, whenever we speak, finally the touching line is, I will say, who has got the final line, and the final line is him telling us that, you know, it is the inner view that all of us have to look forward to, and as hollow as you are, the view gets better.
Yeah.
The view gets better and more beautiful. Wonderful, wonderful. So
Yeah.
seek inspiration from brother today, and I can't thank you and Swami enough for making this happen. It's been a small group. I would say this is a personalized message for each one of us who is here today. I'm sure
Small group is always good, sir. Small group is always good.
No, hold on. There is a bigger group that watches it offline because we are keeping it small. Maybe we are selfish, but but the fact is, it's His grace that this happens, and it is His grace where I don't know you. I just got your number from one of the brothers, and he said,
Yeah.
you should get him to talk.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
everyone says, listen to him, you have something to learn. Listen to him, you have something to learn. And that is how this whole series goes, because we don't have any protocols, we don't have a formality. We reach out, he gets the people to speak to us. And the week you speak
Yeah.
is also the message for the week for us. So I cannot thank Swami enough, but surrendering him to say, this was probably one of the weeks where on a Thursday we knew that you're going to speak, but I was still waiting for an uncertainty till today, whether there will be internet connection.
Yeah.
Whether this will be there, that will be there. But I said,
Yeah.
look, let's just move on. He is there doing it. So, Sairam sir, thank you so much. We'll finish with Samasta Loka.
Silence.
So, this series
Yes.
continues
Yes.
Sunday. I don't know who the speaker is yet. You will know when I get to know. Until then, let's finish off with Samasta Loka, surrendering to Swami. समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु ॐ शांति शांति शांति। जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय। Sai Ram everyone. Sai Ram, thank you sir. Sai Ram. Sai Ram.